Welcome, everyone. My name is Jordan Bain, and this podcast is called Unveiling. We're lifting the veil to see true reality, discussing the mysteries of life, what it means to live a full and joyful life in the light and service. If this is your first time tuning in, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, subscribe to my YouTube channel, both of which you can find under my name, Jordan Bain. My guest tonight is Sarah Smriga, who I've known for many, many years now. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Awesome. My pleasure. Sarah is a colleague of mine and a leader at the Modern Mystery School in Minneapolis, where she serves as a guide, healer, and ritual master. She's a mother to two sons, Luke, who's 6 years old, and Evan, who's 3. She has a unique perspective of being a mother and understanding the path of initiation that we offer in the Modern Mystery School. So again, thanks for being here. It's great to see you.
Absolutely.
I know we don't get to see each other a lot because of COVID and all the travel restrictions and all that stuff, but it's really good we can come together and do these sorts of podcasts online.
I'm really glad to be able to connect with you.
Yeah, likewise. So how did you find the mystery school a long time ago? What was that journey for you?
Well, I found the mystery school in 2005, and I remember I would be lying awake at night and I would be thinking, okay, there has to be more to life. You know, I had a really good job. I was living in LA. I was working at Paramount Pictures, and yet I still felt like there's something missing. You know, I want more. And I was definitely at a place where I was wanting to recreate myself and take my life to the next level. And I just had this instinct. I just had this intuition. And I reached out to a family member who told me about the mystery school, and that gave me an opportunity to just check it out. I really had, just an instinct, and I went with it, but I didn't have any expectations. And I took the 2-day Empower Thyself class. I did a life activation the day prior, and I didn't really know what to expect. But from that, I just said, well, let me try this. I just want to try, using some of the meditation techniques and some of the different tools of power that we call rituals. And then I just really rebuilt my life, and I created what was more of a balanced job that led to more of what I would call a dream job. And I created more balance in relationships and really a lot more strength within who I was. And I started to connect more to what my purpose was. And it was so important for me.
Very cool. What happened after that time over the next over the years after you got initiated? Like, you were creating your dream job and you were doing different things with the mystery school. What was the overall progression for you between the first 10 years of your journey as an initiate?
Yeah, so the first 10 years before I became a parent, it was so much about self-care, self-leadership, self-healing, and then really experiencing joy. One of the ways that I find joy is doing what I call living my magic. So who am I really? And then how do I live that? How do I bring what my gifts are forward and have joy in my life and then affect others? So I just started sharing, my success, and people were listening and they wanted to learn more about it. So I hosted the Empower Thyself class. I brought the Universal Hermetic Ray Kabbalah to Minneapolis a few times. So I started having people experience different healings and take different classes. And then all the while, I started to really expand my meditation practice. I was meditating every day. I started having a lot of intuition opening. I used the tools from Kabbalah to manifest my dream job, traveling the world for the Travel Channel. And then eventually I met my now husband actually in a meditation, which was really cool. I wasn't expecting it, but he totally popped in. I saw what he looked like, and then a month later I met him in person. So these are the fun, magical aspects that I know I achieved just by using the tools. And what it really helped me with is living life alive, living an adventurous life, but it's definitely outside of the box. And yet it connects me to who I've always been and what I've always been looking for. I've never been one, I've always had to break the mold. I've always been different, and I can really celebrate that. So that was really, the first 10 years. And then I received this initiation into motherhood. And it's been so beautiful. It's in 2015 when my first son was born, our first son was born. And I changed, and it was an exciting opportunity to use the tools all over again and recreate myself again with a lot more balance and clarity as I continue to discover what does it mean to be who I am and be a mother.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have so many questions here. What does being a mother mean to you in terms of what we talk about in the school, like light work, healing, service, making the world a better place? Like, how do you connect motherhood for yourself with those concepts and teachings that we work with in the school?
Yeah, well, motherhood is very personal. For me, I can share what I've experienced. Being a mother and being able to carry this child in my womb and then birth this being into existence is pure magic. And it really gave me confidence in who I am, to know that, if I have the ability to do this, then who am I? And it is a reminder, I am a goddess. I'm a divine being. And so I use this term to mean that before I was born, I existed. And then I came into this world with all of my desires and hopes for what I want to create. And that's what I truly believe. So it really helped me reconnect, not to the personality, who is Sarah, not to what people in society say a mother is. That's been extremely eye-opening. But to stay connected to the fact that I am a divine being, and I'm giving birth to what I believe is this God, this being. I remember looking in Luke's eyes for the first time, and I could see the whole universe looking in his eyes. I felt such a connection. It was so expansive. And so being a mother to me is the number one service I can offer, because I literally birthed a God into this world. And I have 2 sons. And so I have this responsibility to raise them in a way that I feel is the best that I can do. And of course, it does not mean being perfect, but it means I have a responsibility to them to be who I am and do what I feel helps to make the world a better place, because I truly believe they chose me to be their mother. So it's quite an honor, and it requires a lot. And I'm constantly learning and evolving. And so it's quite a gift to be able to serve in this way. And yet to not be completely lost and overwhelmed in it has been just a constant learning experience for me.
Let's talk about this gods, goddesses thing, because I think that's something that a lot of people are really curious about when they first come to the school. I was very curious. I was like, God, I mean, like, yeah, okay, I'm an eternal being. Sure, I have experiences of existing long before this life. I have consciousness that I know is way beyond this body. So that makes sense to me through my own experiences, like in meditation and spirituality and prayer and that sort of thing. But then we come to the mystery school and we're like, you're a god. And we're like, really? I mean, that's kind of a lot. So can you speak a little bit? So like, what does that mean to you, both to be a goddess and to have given birth to a god? Like, why that? What does it mean?
Well, I think using that word, it can definitely, if people are new to it, it can be something that's a new experience. I think to me, it really means this becoming. You are evolving, you are becoming, and that you matter. You are regal, you are holy, you're sacred. Mm-hmm. And you're not just this little human, living this mundane life. And, if you're not this little ant, this little pebble of existence, that it really helps to raise your vibration and your consciousness. Because what if this were true? What if you are a divine being? Even if you don't like the term calling yourself a god or a goddess, what if you can embrace that you are a creator goddess or god in training, or that you are a divine being? It's really helping elevate you into a status for you to view yourself. It's to come at it, looking at it from a different perspective. You're not just, this lowly little thing on earth, but it's like, hey, I'm here. The world is my oyster. I want to explore life. I want to be the best version of me. And so I feel like that term really helps hold you accountable to discovering, constantly discovering aspects of you. So it's really meant to help people know that they are a creator and that they have the ability to create their reality. That's something that we learn quite a bit through Kabbalah and in our practice with different classes in the mystery school.
It's interesting. And I feel that's one of the biggest struggles that we have in the world today is people not knowing who they are and thinking that they are just a human or that they're limited in some way. And of course we have limitations, like I can't jump out the window and fly, so I would just fall and die. But what are the limits of my ability to create my reality? Like, they might actually be unlimited.
Yes.
Again, there's physical laws. We're not talking about that. We're talking about, my creative abilities may not be limited, or maybe they're limited by my own perceptions of what I think is going on in my life. Maybe there's actually a lot of causes and a lot of magic I've created in my life that I don't even ascribe to myself. I just think that's life. My life has gone really well, especially since being initiated. My life has gone really, why has it gone so well? And what's the common denominator in my life? It's me. So someone's responsible. And to say I'm a god or goddess is really that ultimate power, right?
Yeah. And we're constantly evolving if we choose to. So it's like, well, who am I now? Not who I was yesterday, but who am I right now? And then who am I now? And it's constant polishing the stone and evolving and holding ourselves accountable to just keep growing. That's really, keep experiencing life, keep having joy, keep growing along your path.
Yeah. So how did you use Kabbalah specifically? Because so many people ask about Kabbalah. So many people are fascinated by it. I was fascinated when I first came to the school and heard about Kabbalah. And then, I've had comments in other podcasts on people being like, can you say more about these tools? Rather, because in many of these podcasts, we talk about different tools, benefits of using them. But I'd love to get a little bit more into, like, when you say you're a Kabbalist and you've taken Kabbalah in the school and you've used the tools of Kabbalah to create an amazing marriage and to help you raise your sons and to create your dream job, like how?
Yeah, well, there's many aspects. So I think, first of all, one of the things I'm passionate about using is the 4 worlds meditation and the process to create your reality. So we break it into 4 steps, and it's through, sacred geometry and toning and vibration and meditation that you come to achieve the ability to really hold the energy of what is the divine spark of what I want to create. Not just from what does my personality want to create, but no, who am I as a divine being? Not what society says, but who am I? And coming from that energy has been really important because I've gotten it wrong and I've learned a lot. So I've come from my personality and created things that I end up not really liking. I don't like the fruits of it. So it's really helped me tap into that and really be balanced in the process of having clear thoughts about what I want to create and moving it into a plan, not getting stuck in the planning and then taking action in the world. So it's been really helpful to have that as an exercise that I can use at any point. I mean, I've been working with the Tree of Life and Kabbalah for more than 10 years. So having that has been extremely helpful. And then also it's really helped with my awareness of where am I at with my negative ego attachments? What is holding me back? Where am I getting in my own way? And what needs to be cleaned up? So it's holding myself accountable and really examining, through the different sphero on the Tree of Life, where am I in balance? Where am I out of balance? And the alchemy of the process of ascending into the different sphero on the Tree of Life through the journey that we take people on in Kabbalah and that I've experienced many times, that process always has alchemy involved. So I'm becoming aware of what do I want to let go of and where do I need to create more balance. And then I have to hold myself accountable and live it rather than just get the aha moment. That's not enough. I need to actually apply it. So it's very much, I love results. I'm a doer. I really do. I love action, but it holds me accountable because it reminds me that I'm not a victim. I actually can ask myself, what can I do about it? And so, through the different processes that we have, like different rituals, which are tools of power, or meditations, or just the alchemy of ascension, by experiencing it over a year, that has really helped me, polish the stone and keep creating new outcomes in my life.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And you mentioned the sphere on the tree of life, which is, essentially the spheres, the different regions, the different archetypes. What are the what is an archetype? Like, we're using this thing, the tree of life. You mentioned the four worlds, right? Inspiration, getting this spark from your divinity, and then thinking about it, and then planning it out, and then acting on it, which seems like the most basic thing ever. But like you mentioned, like a lot of people either get stuck, or they skip something, or they're missing something in that blueprint. And then, so we're using the blueprint of the tree of life. We're using those 4 stages of creation. We're using these 10 spheres, this 10 spherot, these 10 archetypes. And archetypes are really tied in with gods and goddesses. As a god or a goddess, as an eternal being, however you want to think about it in your life, like there's a role that you have to play in the world. And so much of the mystery school is like, well, what is that role? It can't just be like, I'm eternal, I'm here to do something. And then 80 years goes by and you die, and then you didn't do it. So I'd love for you to just talk about archetypes. What comes to mind when you think of archetypes, and relate that to the tree and how you're using the tree?
Yeah, well, I think that, working with the archetypes, it's working with aspects of divinity. It's like a color, different colors of the color spectrum. And so we have these different colors that we can even associate. So different aspects. So how do I experience joy within this one sphere? How do I embody that? And so it's working with what the virtues are, what the goddess energy is found within that archetype. So, certainly things that come to mind that have been really helpful are victory over my emotional attachments, working with Netzach. And then being balanced in my beliefs about myself, which would be the truth of who I am. So working in Hod. And then bringing it back to my foundation, the archetype of the foundation in Yesod. And that's been so important, is I've really learned to love myself at a deeper and deeper level, and have love be that foundation, which is something that, those are just 3 examples of archetypes found on the tree, but that's really where our negative ego can get to us. If we don't overcome that, then it's very hard to live as this regal being and produce good fruits in your life and have great results if you're getting stuck in those areas, just as an example.
And those are really the main personality archetypes, in addition to the body and the senses of the body. And that is where a lot of people get hung up and stuck, so that they're not living their higher self, their higher reality, their divine self. What is a goddess? So we're talking about archetypes on the tree. What is a goddess archetype?
A goddess archetype is being balanced, being able to be disciplined, being able to fully express your unique essence, and doing that's in a way that's in alignment with your purpose. So, there are many different aspects of goddesses. I don't know if you have an example that you want to share too, related to the tree.
Well, I mean, I'd love to hear, especially like in your experience, like working with people, and in your experience in your life, like, we work these different aspects of the tree, and they show us, we say we work them, meaning like we go into them. It's almost like we're initiating people into them. It's not really an initiation, called ascension, but we're initiating or ascending people into an archetype of the tree of life. And in that archetype, they discover more of themselves. Like they dive into the reality of like that part of their psyche. And, part of the psyche that we dive into as men and women are like our inner masculine and feminine energies. And different people are diving into different combinations of those male and female energies all the time. And so I think, well, a lot of times when we say we're going to do a show and we're going to talk about the goddess, or we're going to talk about goddesshood, or the energy of the goddess, it's helpful for maybe people, especially those who are not yet initiated or who just found this podcast or found the mystery school recently, or just got on a spiritual path recently, and maybe they haven't read about a lot of these concepts or thought about it much. Like, everyone has these archetypes. We all are different archetypes, but what is, like, you're saying some of the things that are associated for you with goddesses, like discipline, being balanced, that sort of thing.
I'm
I
thinking,
guess maybe just some examples. Go ahead.
yeah, well, specifically for me as a mother, that has been so important. That has really helped me because, being balanced means a lot more now that I have these two sons, because if I'm off balance, they notice. They don't receive the same level of care if I'm not taking care of myself, if I'm not centered on what we call the middle pillar on the tree of life. So being happy, being in joy, they benefit so much. So, that takes extra discipline, and it takes really holding myself accountable and coming from that place of connecting into the true essence of who I am, coming from life at the top of the tree of life. We call that the Catherian viewpoint rather than from the negative ego. So it matters even more to me now to find ways. The way that I practice is different. The way that I work with time is different. But the level of responsibility that I feel is much stronger because I now can affect their life with this magic and with living life in this way. And they benefit so much more when I am balanced and disciplined. So those have been really important.
And how do you see it impacting them long term? The work that you do as an initiate and as a Kabbalist and as a guide and a healer and a teacher, like, what do you, moment to moment? Yeah, you're more balanced. You're doing more self care. They get that attention. But what do you see like unfolding or happening in their lives as your kids?
Yeah, well, all I can do is be who I am to the best of my ability. And for me, and working with the tools in the mystery school, it's made such an impact in my life that I just enjoy sharing it with others. And I love hearing how other people are getting results. But because it's a Hermetic lineage, I know that when I offer different healing sessions or the Empower Thyself initiation to people, that it is creating a ripple effect out. When we work on the inner, it affects the outer world. So I really feel like it's my responsibility. There's this thought that some people have in the world that, oh, the world is in such a horrible place. Well, thank goodness the next generation will just get to figure it out. Well, I feel like I want to make an impact on the world now so I can leave it in the best possible shape for future generations, not just my two children that I'm raising with my husband, but I really want to do my part. And so I feel that that's important, that I keep on that path of serving others and in living in a way that shows them it's okay to be who you are. You can live outside of the box. You can use these different tools. I actually don't mind if they interrupt me when I'm meditating. That's great. Because now they've just had an imprint where they've seen that their mom meditates. That's cool. Just like I exercise and eat healthy, and it's they're a sponge, so they're absorbing it all. Receiving regular self-care, healing sessions, things like that. They just observe it. They observe it, and they see me living it. And so what I want to do for them specifically is create an opportunity for them to just see what's possible. And then they get to choose. I want them to be who they are. I want them to choose what they want. But to be able to see that, there are all of these opportunities that exist, and that the world can change when you work on the inner, that you can change the outer world, that you always have the opportunity to do something about it rather than just feel hopeless. So it's just modeling and living it in a way that matters, because they notice everything, even when you think they don't notice. And then they become some of your greatest teachers because they will remind you of things. And so it's been really important for me that I recognize that, and that they now are a big piece of my motivation to continue in doing what I feel is living out my purpose.
It's amazing, and totally get it. There's so much that we can model, and it's amazing when you reflect on that, like how much they're taking in and how much they're seeing now. We don't know the results of that years down the road. What are they going to do with that information? Like, it's little bits of information for their mind and for their soul and for their being, but where will they take it all? I don't know. It's got to be good. We see the results show up in lives of, initiates kids, and they're really amazing kids. Like, really aware, on point. They're not smushing themselves to conform to someone else's expectations of who they're supposed to be, which is really cool and encouraging to see. So what words of wisdom would you have for mothers, and also just those people who are considering the path of initiation, whether they're mothers or not? What have you seen, and what would you say to people to encourage people on this path?
Well, whether you're a mother or not, I have experience working with hundreds of people over the years, and I know that this path will meet you where you are at, and it will take you to the next level if you choose to. It will take you as far as you want to go if you choose to, use the tools and the techniques and really, be that, I'm going to call that warrior of light, and let go of what no longer serves. And so there's so much available. But again, it's up to your free will and your choice. And so that is something that is, I think, helpful for people to know. It's a safe thing to explore. We can give you all of these options, and then you can decide, do I want to use them? How do I want to work with it? Certainly for mothers who are on this path or considering this path, all I can say is that it's important for you to live your magic. Please, if you catch yourself comparing yourself to any other mother, stop. Women do this a lot. Maybe men do it too, but women tend to compare and then tear down, maybe judge yourself. And so that's not helpful. But I really can say that all that you need is within you, especially when you're using the magic of the tools that we offer. So there's so much available. So what's helped me a lot is to work with my intuition, to go into a sanctuary meditation, work with my higher self and, my children's higher selves, and really come up with a plan, come up with a way that when I'm left, like daily, when I'm left confused and wondering what else can I do, that's been important for me. And then of course, it's really important to have a community. This is some words of wisdom that helped me when I became a mom. I had no idea that would matter so much. But knowing that, yes, you have all these beings of light that we teach you about in the mystery school, but you also have human beings who can help you. So don't give your power away to reading every book and think they know the answer, but have people on your team who can help you and give you a break and, maybe use their magic, what they're good at, because truly that helps you as a parent, but it helps your children. It gives them confidence knowing that yes, you're their world, but you don't need to be absolutely everything to them all the time. They're going to grow by having a community support them.
Amazing. Yeah. What other things come to mind for you that you feel are important for mothers to reflect on or think about in terms of their purpose or their service, or what they really want to be doing in their lives, and how that's related to motherhood?
Yeah, I think just to look at your purpose as always evolving. It's not going to just be this one thing, check the box, okay, I'm doing it with my purpose, because we use that term in today's society in so many different ways. But it's really about never plateauing, never going backwards. So just continuing to evolve. And so having clarity in the central core of the I am. This is who I am, and not losing yourself in your relationships. So not losing yourself even in the relationship of being a mother. or in the relationship with your partner, or in the relationship with your boss. It's making space to claim who you are. Yes, if you're a mother, then you're a mother. And yes, that is what you do. And you will be a mother, and you will do that every single day of your life. And that will bring you joy. But you can also, in addition to that, because we're multidimensional, you can do that and continue on living your purpose and carrying out what's your passion, and that's really important. I think it's helpful that we just, at the end of my life, I want to be able to say, hey, I've done all of these things. I've lived life alive. I've served others, and I've connected to what my passion is and what my purpose is. All of that in addition to being a mother. And so I think it's claiming who you are. And if you don't know it, that's okay. I'm still figuring it out. We're evolving. But if you're curious, we've got really, really great examples of tools and techniques that we have that will help along the way.
Amazing. Very cool. Anything else that comes to mind that you want to share? I don't have any other specific questions, but I love just what this can mean in people's lives to reflect on. Well, whether I'm a mother or not, there's that much support available. And I can use magic and myself to make it an amazing life. And that's a super important message for everyone to hear right now in the world.
Yeah, it's really not selfish. It's not selfish to take care of yourself and to fill your cup. Because when you do that, it overflows into all aspects of your life. And so that's really what this lineage and the magic of Kabbalah has really helped me with is, where do I need to let go? Where do I need to fill? And I'm doing it. I'm filling my cup with all of this vibration and light and tools. So I'm feeling really, really good. And then I have that overflow, and it affects those I love, but it affects people in my community. It affects people I work with. So really getting to the core of that and knowing that you're worth it. You're worth investing your time, your resources in, because you matter, and you matter to a lot of people, and you're the center of influence in many areas. And so really, really continue to embody that worth. That's why I'm calling it goddesshood, but whatever people want to call it, it's knowing that you matter and come from that divinity, and allow that to motivate you and ultimately serve all of the people in your life and have more joy while you're doing it.
Amazing. Beautiful. I love it. And I know that it's so intrinsic to us as initiates who have been on this path for so long, but so really like a revolutionary life change for people who are maybe just finding this work for the first time, that's actually possible. So thanks for sharing and opening that door so people can kind of see in and see what it's like to live that magic. So thank you all for tuning in with us. Again, my name is Jordan Bain. My guest tonight has been Sarah Smarriga, and love you guys. We'll tune in again soon. Been off for a few months doing this podcast. I'm going to be getting back to doing it hopefully almost every single week. So we'll see you all in the next week or two. And again, Sarah, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for the opportunity.
My pleasure. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, and you'll get notified when we go live in the future. Take care, everyone.